The other day I was out kind of trying to find another house to purchase in the community, and I noticed that there was a two-bedroom and it was going for around 850,000. So I came back and I noticed right there on Fox that home buying competition falls to the lowest level in 2 years. And I'm wondering, why is this news when there is a two-bedroom for damn near $1 million? Obviously, no one's competing to pay for that crap.
Of course. I gave up a long time ago. I'm tired of living in my tiny little closet, but everywhere I look, everything is over $500,000. And it's ridiculous, that then you're going to pay for the extra interest from the mortgage and fees and taxes on top of that. And then if you buy a home at an inflated price, now they got you locked in to that high tax rate, because even if you have some sort of uh, protection that caps your annual property tax increases, it only works on whatever the value was at from the year that you bought it. So if you bought a house that realistically should only be $150,000, and at the time it was over half a million, you're paying property taxes on over half a million for the rest of eternity on that house. And at that point, why even have the responsibility of having to fix stuff and maintain stuff, which the city who's charging you the taxes is going to tell you what to do with your own home, because technically you don't really own anything in this country between property taxes and eminent domain and SWAT teams and whatever. You don't own your property. So you're doing all that. You might as well just rent, You're going to pay the other property owners property taxes, but at the very least, you don't have to worry about if the roof is leaking or if something is starting to break down or an appliance catches on fire. But they've taken all the fun and benefits out of home ownership. You don't have your own agency with to work with your property how you see fit. You got to make sure that the grass is a certain way. You got to make sure that the paint is a certain way. You got to make sure that your inside is you have permits for everything, because God forbid you're able to change one little non load bearing wall just to give yourself an open footprint without spending a fortune on permits and contractors and whatever. No, there's no freedom of property. There's no ability to have it affordable or anything. So why would you even bother in this market? Wait for it all to crash, buy it at rock bottom prices, pay hardly any property taxes, and stick it to them.
That's absolutely it. But I want you to jump on something else and kind of get into this, because it actually went down to just 44%. So pretty much you still have 44% of people making a competing offer for $1 million house that's a two-bedroom. Where's this money coming from?
Well, maybe it's a person, or maybe it's a corporation that's just gobbling up all of the properties to try to get, like they're playing the game Monopoly. They're like, oh, we want all the ones on Baltic Avenue. We don't care if they're overpriced and cheap little motels. We just want it. We'll worry about it later. Just that way nobody has any choice but to rent. But we're already renting anyways, with property taxes and code enforcement telling you what to do, even though you're the one paying for code enforcement. It's so ridiculous. Government is out of hand. The eminent domain, they're using it to steal properties from people instead of using eminent domain for what it's supposed to be for. Like if there's really a dire need for an airport in a certain area, or a highway, or a nuclear missile silo, or some sort of a reservoir or an aquifer, or something that you really need to service tens of millions of people, then okay, you can kind of inconvenience one person, and you shouldn't just pay the market rate. You should pay the market rate plus maybe 50% to make it worth their while, because now they have to go find something equivalent late, somewhere else. But still, it should be something that is rarely used. But we're using it for frivolous stuff, like a September 11th monument in the middle of nowhere that nobody goes to see. We're using it when the hurricane came through New Orleans and flooded all those homes, and they bought everything at like pennies on the dollar because in its flooded state it's not worth anything, even though the people didn't want to sell because they're like, as soon as it dries out we'll rebuild, with our insurance payments and whatever. But they're like, no, 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 we want our corporate cronies to rebuild after buying it for pennies on the dollar. It's super corrupt. It's ridiculous. Don't participate in this crazy game. Wait for it all to crash down and punish them like that, because the less you pay in taxes, the less they can hire more IRS agents or more code enforcement agents or more SWAT teams to pick the wrong address and kick down your door and kill you and your dog in the middle of the night while you're in your underwear so that you can't even die with dignity. It's ridiculous.